Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's been like 40 seconds or something since I last recorded, but this is going to be the first part of my new series called Class Guides, where basically I am going to basically tell you a little about a specific class and what makes them unique from others. And so I'm just flipping through it. Today I'm going to be talking at least a lot about this class, the Sorcerer. They are very unique and is personally one of my favorite just because the roleplay aspects of it. So, what makes a sorcerer unique is that they are born with magic. They didn't study it like a wizard, they didn't get it from a pact like a warlock, they were just born with it. No one knows. It might have been like, oh, it's a curse, family curse, or oh, fairy gave it to you, or a demon marked you as an enemy. So, really, the fun part about it, at least for me, is figuring out how the hell your character ended up with it. Like, what is it that gives them magic? For example, one of my characters I have a lot, shit ton of character sheets, is called Simon Stormbreaker. He's a storm sorcerer. And the reason why he has magic is because when he was born, the storm god, which I nicknamed Susanoo, which is the Japanese god of storms, if you know your mythology. And he basically was fighting another god, and then accidentally struck him with some lightning. But instead of dying, he absorbed it, and now he can cast storm-related magic, which is his mains are lightning, thunder-based, and ice. Because I technically count a snowstorm as a storm, and snow is basically just ice. So those are basically his mains, and sorcerers are very unique. They are probably the least, like they get the fewest amount of spells. If I remember correctly, they only get access to 15 spells, meaning which is sounds a lot, but then we got the warlock over there with its stuff, and it gets another thing called invocations, which basically gives them, say you can cast speak with animals whenever you hell want. And for the wizard, well, they will have access to over 100 spells by the end, by level 20, which is the last final level. It means the sorcerer only gets access to 15, meaning for a sorcerer, you'll cast most of your spells like more than once. That's why it's very good to plan out your sorcerer. Like, do you want your sorcerer to be a supporter, like use supportive magic to help your party, or do you want it to be a more combat oriented and taking a lot more of, or do you, if you want to play a specific element, like, oh, my character only uses fire magic or ice. It's very much planning out what you want, and the sorcerer gets two things that are very unique to it. The first is sorcery points, which in game, to cast a spell, you have to expend what is called a spell slot. And basically what you can do, for an example, is you can spend 2 sorcery points to get one slot back. And that's basically what you can do at level 2 when you get access to them. But at level 3, you get the sorcerer's signature technique, meta magic. Basically, you can power up your spells, make them stronger. Do 2 of them, like, oh, I do twin firebolts. Or make it so you can cast it silently without having to say or do any magical waves, which is, I'll go into detail probably in a later video about it. But those are the only 2 really things you get from the sorcerer without the subclass, which is called Sorcerer's Origin. Basically what it means is, well, you choose which origin, where your magic comes from. One of the which is another part which I love about it, is you choose your sorcerer, your subclass at level 1. Meaning you'll not have to wait, you have to just chill. And within it, I am gonna keep the book up because I can't remember. So, there are 2 in the Player's Handbook. There are more in other books, like the Storm Sorcerer in Thanathar's Guide to Everything. Sorry if I said that word. Wait, then there's 2 in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Basically expansion books. And within it we have the Draconic Bloodline. Basically what it means is that somewhere in your... sorry, I'm just going to put a bookmark here so I know. Basically somewhere in the distant past you have a dragon for an ancestor. That can be a gold dragon, which are associated with the element of fire, a white dragon, which is associated with ice. Blue dragons are associated with lightning. Basically, you got a dragon ancestor, and that's why you can cast your magic. Well, when you pick it, basically to explain it, in Dragon Society in D&D lore, there are 2 types of dragons. We've got metallic dragons and chromatic. Chromatic follow, I can't remember her name, but they tend to be blue-white. They tend to be bad guys. Basically what a party would... Oh yeah, Tiamat. Her name is Tiamat, who the chromatic dragons follow, and she's evil. While Bahamut controls the metallic, which are gold, silver, bronze. They tend to be more good. So it's good to think that if you want your character to be good, might choose a metallic dragon as your ancestor, not a chromatic one. But if you want some fun roleplay with your character being good, but his ancestor was evil, well, you can choose a chromatic. So, yeah, you get some stuff from being it at, like, when you choose it. First you choose your dragon ancestor, like I just told you, where you tell, okay, which type of element was my dragon ancestor, because there's more than one. There's fire, ice, acid, and poison. Look, I don't really recommend acid and poison, especially poison. It's a shit ton of people get immunity sooner or later to it, so really I really recommend either fire, ice, or lightning dragons, which still gives you with a blue, copper, gold, red, silver, and white dragons, which are cool. First thing you get is that you automatically know the Draconic language, which is basically which is the language of the dragons, and usually, in my worlds at least, is also what most magic books are written in. Meaning that most wizards in my world know Draconic because, well, they have to study by books, and 99% of the books there are written in Draconic. So you automatically get it. You can also, basically, you get to be a little bit better at talking to dragons, and maybe because, well, you have their blood in it. Maybe not full-blooded, but you have their blood. Get something called Draconic Resilience, which means that in basic D&D terms, there is something called armor class, which is basically how much armor you have. Meaning you have permanent, remember that, an AC of 13 plus your dexterity modifier, which is the same thing as the spell Mage Armor, which now you're probably wondering, why the hell is that good for me? Well, sorcerers don't get proficiency in armor. You can't use it. Meaning this basically means that you get to be a little bit more survivable. Also means that you get 1 HP every level, meaning for an example, meaning you'll get without modifiers, and if you choose the average amount of HP per roll, you'll get 5 HP per level up. So basically, in general, this Draconic Resilience basically makes your sorcerer more, I wouldn't say more combative, like you aren't gonna be on the front lines fighting shit, but you can just survive more. You get Elemental Affinity. Basically, you can add your Charisma modifier, which is the sorcerer's spellcasting ability. It's charisma. They draw from their personality, and they can add their charisma modifier. So if you have a charisma modifier of +3, and you are, say, a silver dragon and cast a ray of frost cantrip, then it's 1d8, an 8-sided die, +3. So you can basically add that to any elemental spells which is associated to your dragon ancestor. Meaning you can't, if you're a silver dragon as your ancestor, you can't add your charisma modifier to fire spells. It's only selling on ice or cold based spells. And you can also spend 1 sorcery points to gain resistance for the type for 1 hour. And resistance means that any damage gets halved. So if originally say a fire spell and you're a red dragon ancestor, then and it does 6 points of damage, you only take 3. While immunity is, well, you don't take any damage. So you get that for 1 hour by spending 1 sorcery points. We have dragon wings. So yeah, at 14th level you get access to dragon wings. You can manifest them as a bonus action, meaning you can do that and then use your action to cast a spell. On an example. And you gain a flying speed equal to your movement. So if you're a human that get 30 feet of movement, you can also fly 30. And you can also dismiss them as a bonus action. So basically you can just, alright, gone. It has a few drawbacks. One of the main is that if your armor, which you have on, isn't meant for it, it tends to shred because it grows out of your back, and if you don't have clothes that are specifically designed so you can just plop them out whenever you want, your shirt might get destroyed, and then you'll have to buy a new one, and, well, you don't. Then you get Draconic Presence. Basically, you can spend 5 sorcery points to basically have an aura of either fear or wonder. So basically, you just emulate an aura of pure fucking scariness. And this is why I didn't say that this was for kids, because yeah, I'm gonna swear. Didn't say that this video isn't probably not gonna be for children. None of these are, because I don't think YouTube will allow it. But yeah, basically, if you just fear, then first of all they have to do what's called a wisdom saving throw, basically trying to resist it. If they fail, they'll on their turn try to run away, meaning because they are so goddamn scared of you that they don't want to be near you. And if you choose wonder, they get charmed. Basically, they'll attack for you. But if they succeed, they're immune to the effect for the next day, meaning you can't use it. Choose it. So basically, you're so scary that some people will run away and some will be in awe. And then we'll have wild magic, which is one I relate to a lot because I have a tendency to bend luck for some reason. Even though I count myself as probably one of the most unlucky people to ever exist, but that's another thing. So wild magic is basically you draw from the forces of chaos. And in D&D terms, when you roll a 20-sided die, which basically means to see if you succeed or fail on anything you want, and you roll a 1, which is bad, it means that you critically fail, you'll have to roll a T100. And then a random magical effect will happen. I'll read out some of you. You can't speak for the next minute. Whenever you try, pink bubbles float out of your mouth. Or you cast fireball centered on yourself. So you throw a fireball at yourself. You can, you cast mirror image. You take 1 additional action immediately. You can turn yourself into a potted plant. Basically, the whole thing is that you are controlling chaos. And you can't control it. Because no one controls chaos. Chaos does its own thing. And basically, that's your whole gimmick, that you're manipulating chaos itself. And Well, that's last I checked, no one could really control that stuff. But anyway, you get Wild Magic Surge, which basically a lot of these are very much like you. For example, I'll just read them out. You, if you want it, you can probably buy the Player's Handbook to real. You get Ties of Chaos, Bend Luck, Control Chaos, and Spell Bombardment. So in general, the whole thing is that you are manipulating fates. Like Controlled Chaos means that you can roll twice on the magic. This, I'll show you actually. This, and you'll choose one of the two, which means that there is a higher chance that you'll get an effect that you want. For an example, up to 3 creatures you choose within 30 feet takes 4d10 lightning damage. So basically, lightning strikes them and deals a maximum of 40 damage. Up 3 creatures that, and remember, you choose. It ain't like, okay, random. No, you choose. And one which I always found funny. You're immune to being intoxicated by alcohol for next 5d6 days. So you can't get drunk. So yeah, there's some here that are good. You can gain hit points back. You can get some HP back. You can, you can cast general. You can teleport. You can turn invisible when like randomly. Basically, it's like, okay, you get to a little bit more control it. And so yeah, a lot of these are like, oh, you're manipulating luck to make sure that you get the outcome you want. And this is roughly how long they're gonna be, because they're gonna be 12 episodes, one for each class, because there are 12 in total in this thing. And I started off with Sorcerer because it's my personal favorite. I'm probably gonna do all of these in one day just because I feel exciting. So have a nice day, and tomorrow or after this video is published, we're probably gonna choose Rogue, which is my second favorite class, and maybe we'll actually do like a bit of magic explaining how it works.